Greetings, members one and all of the Salivation Nation, with a look at the markets today and a little analysis from what is going on with gold and silver. They've been taking a beating as of late, mainly because of the strong dollar. We'll explore that and take a look at sort of a counter point of view as well, especially for what's transpired over the last few hours just today. It is the 24th of April, 2019. So let's take a look and see what's going on with gold and silver, and maybe platinum and palladium too. We'll analyze those a bit as well. So let's explore. This article comes to us from CNBC, and it's gold is getting near a 4-month low, and the pressure comes from a strong dollar here. And said the gold steadied on Wednesday, crawling up slightly from the lowest in nearly 4 months hit during the previous session, with bullion pressured by a robust dollar as U.S. stocks took a breather following a strong rally. Yes, the markets were quite up today, for sure, but they did end up a little bit lower, I think 50 some odd points in the Dow. Spot gold was up 0.2% at $1,274.24 per ounce, a day after hitting its lowest since December the 26th at $1,265.90 an ounce. U.S. gold futures settled $6.20 higher at $12.7940. This insignificant move in gold is just technical bounce from the hard sell-off yesterday, said David Merger, director of metals trading at High Ridge Futures. U.S. stocks edged slightly higher after a record rally in the prior session, pointing to a cooling demand for riskier assets. The dollar gained, holding near a 22-month high against its peers, denting bullion's appeal. A good portion of gold's weakness has come from the recent highs of the dollar against major currencies. We'll take a look at that in a moment. And lack of safe haven buying amidst equity markets continuing higher and slightly better global economic outlook, Merger said. Recent data from the United States and China have assuaged fears of global downturn, dampening safe haven demand for gold, which has fallen more than 5% from its 2019 peak, touched in February. Spot good gold could hover above support at $1,264 an ounce, or bounce towards resistance on $1,284 an ounce, said Reuters technical analyst Wang Tao. Investors now await release of U.S. GDP data later this week. The Atlanta Federal Reserve's GDP Now model projects between 2.2% and 3.4% growth for the world's largest economy, which would beat an analyst estimates of 2.1% growth. That's interesting. Still quite a vast difference between those two. Reflecting bearish investor sentiment, holders of SPDR Gold Trust, the world's largest gold-backed exchange-traded fund, fell 0.3% on Tuesday to 749.63 tons. The lowest since October 23, SPDR Gold holdings have dipped about 5% this year. However, the downside for prices was likely to be limited by increased central bank buying, as well as positive signs the physical market is recovering, analysts from Standard Chartered wrote in a note on Tuesday. And that is the thing definitely to consider. Central banks around the world, they understand. They're going to continue to buy. In fact, it might amp up buying. So that's why I'm kind of thinking like they are, that possibly these low prices may not be around for long, considering. Just depends on what they do in the coming months or weeks. In other metals, silver was up 0.7% at $14.92 an ounce after touching its lowest since December 26th at $14.71 in the previous session. Yeah, silver got hit relatively hard for sure. Platinum fell 0.1% to $883.97 per ounce, so back under $900, and palladium rose 1.3%. So that's there. It's talking about the pressure from the strong dollar. This article here from ForexLive.com says usually when the dollar goes higher, gold goes lower. Not today. The dollar is raced higher and is now the strongest of the major currencies today. Here we can see the daily percent change in U.S. dollars here. and against the other currencies. Despite the rise in the greenback, gold, which typically falls with the rising dollar, is higher by about $3. Technically, the precious metal moved above the 100-hour MA, which is the blue line here, earlier in the day and stayed above that MA since then. Perhaps buyers are just leaning with stops below and not really paying attention to the dollar's move. When you correlate one instrument to the other, it's hard to explain what happens when you expect to happen doesn't happen. Moreover, you don't really know if it's an aberration with gold being wrong or the dollar being wrong. It's alternatively, if you want to trade gold to the upside because you think the dollar rise is bogus, use the 100-hour MA of gold to refine and limit risk. Stay above is more bullish. And this is getting kind of technical here, but I think one thing left out from this analysis is the fact that the markets towards the end of the day did pull back some, and we did see the prices increase, obviously, up $3 here for gold. And it's now $12.76, back kind of where it was before. But by and large, and look, we see silver's back now over $15. And platinum is the only one that's really still suffering. Palladium is up, and rhodium is up $25. It's getting closer to that $3,000 level again. But one thing to really consider here is when you're looking at these numbers and everything that's involved is the psychology. I always go back to that. The emotion. And I think that's something that many of us, that are kind of right thinking in these markets, sometimes you just can't explain with charts and data. And you come to realize that sentiment, the volatility index, the fear index, those types of measures are really what play out. And they can be revised, just like the GDP numbers, just like the jobs numbers, and all that stuff can be revised one way or the other. And in the here and the now, where the markets are, it is one thing to see where these numbers lie and where the prices are, the futures, the contracts, and everything. But one thing that has not been mentioned in any of these articles, really, at least the first article, that sort of touched on it, with basically slightly better global economic outlook amidst equity markets continuing higher, is there's not been any news about trade with China. We haven't heard anything about it. At least I haven't heard anything about it for the last couple of days or week or so. What's going on there? Are there any fears? Maybe no news is good news, and that's affecting the more of an optimistic outlook. And also, Brexit. It's kind of been pushed back again, so that's sort of not really been in the news. There's not much nervousness in that area. So when you take into account those two things, which have had an outlook on the precious metals prices, when they're not in the news, that tends to hold well for precious metals. And the other thing is that may be coming into play here, with the Mueller report coming out, with most reasonable people saying that, hey, essentially there was no collusion or conspiracy, which is really the more closer to a legal term anyway, with the Donald Trump campaign or anybody else in the United States with a foreign government. That would have really rocked the markets, I think, if that turned out to be true. The fact that it wasn't true, I think, does bode well for not only the president, but also for America in general and in our election process here. Now, that doesn't end things as far as politically. Obviously, there is still some going to be investigations, sadly, and the goings-on with that situation. But politics does play a part and play a role in something we should consider, and things will heat up as election season comes in. And I think that that's going to be one of those things that we'll just have to see how it plays out as the year goes for 2019 and 2020. But we'll see how it fares. Post your thoughts below about the markets and about what do you think is going to happen if the prices continue to. How long will this continue? These usually in the summertime, prices do tend to kind of wane a bit. And if they do, are we going to have the summertime blues in terms of precious metal prices, low prices? Many of us feel like the time is long overdue for the prices to go up. Others of us feel that they're about where they should be. Others of us feel like they should be lower. As a buyer, I'd love for them to be lower, but how long do you think this will be? How long do you think this will take before the prices start to really climb up to where some of us feel they should be? Post your thoughts below. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude, y'all, for watching, and encourage you to please rate, comment, and subscribe.